guys, I just recently bought this book. I had it shipped through Amazon because I don't know when the last time was that I actually went into a bookstore. I can't recall. And the only bookstore that I know that is still open anywhere near me is Books A Million, and I have no idea if this book is sold in Books A Million. But anyway, as you guys can see, this is Tanya Burr's new book, and I think only book, called Love Tanya. And I have to say, it is a very, very beautiful book. This is the back of it right here. And so I have been watching her either since, I want to say it was either late 2012, but more than likely it was probably around February of 2013. I had just really started watching YouTube late 2012, and then I started honestly with watching I get tickled when I said honestly right there, sorry about that. I started watching Elle and Blair Fowler. Those were the first two YouTubers that I started watching, and I just started watching more and more people. And then right about the time Playlist Live started, which I think it's in February every year, that's when I discovered a lot of the British YouTubers. So that's probably when I started watching Tanya, and I've been watching her since then. I really enjoy her videos. She seems like a very sweet person. Her baking videos are some of my absolute favorite ones to watch. So when I heard she was coming out with this book, I knew I wanted to pick it up, and so I bought it through Amazon, and it was priced different depending on what the seller was. So I did order this through a seller that was in the United States instead of having it shipped from the UK, and it still took like 2 weeks to get here, and it was being shipped from, I think, New Jersey. But the thing about it was, that was when we were having all that snow. It was just crazy. So that may have caused the delay in the shipping. But anyway, I thought I would do a little bit of a review about this book for you guys today. So initially, it is just to talk about the weight. It's very heavy. This is like a coffee table style book. So I honestly would not want to throw this in my purse and take it like, let's say you were going to have to go wait at a doctor's office or somewhere. It's very heavy, almost like school book heavy type thing. So it's not something that I would honestly want to carry around with me. And then there's a lot of beautiful photographs in here. Let me see if I can find, like, here's some right here. Just very beautiful photographs of her. And so her book starts out kind of how growing up and what her life was like when she was younger. She talks about school and how she got into YouTube, how she and Jim Chapman met. And so I would say, first impression, just starting off, it was a very fast read. You could read this in one day. It's not an issue whatsoever. You could just knock it out in one day. I took a little bit longer because I would read like 30 minutes before I would go to bed or something. And I skipped over some of the parts of it. For example, she has a whole baking chapter in there, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to purchase it, was for the baking chapter. But it's hard for me just to sit down and read recipes and enjoy it. If I was going to make something, then I would definitely go do it at that point. But keep in mind, she is a British person, so if you were in the US and you wanted to make one of her recipes, you're going to have to convert everything over, because in the US we use measuring cups when we bake and measuring spoons, and they weigh their stuff out and do it in grams. So you will have to convert everything over and do some Googling on that, and then figure out what your oven temperature needs to be on, because they are in the Celsius range and we're in the Fahrenheit range. So that's one thing. Then another thing, when she was talking about going to school, I was really confused, and it's just me being an American, and she was writing it from a British standpoint. I had no idea what grade she was talking about half the time. And so I was really confused about whether she went to the university or not. I think she said Jim did, but I was just confused what grade she was in. So that's something, me being an American, I didn't understand how the school system works. And I'm assuming it works just like it does here, but they're called something different, the grades are, and I just didn't understand a lot of that. So there is a disconnect between the way it's written for an American to understand a lot of it. It's not in a foreign language, but it's just what they have different terms for things. So she talks about that. Then there's like several different chapters. She talks about skincare, hair, hair, makeup, how to dress for your body type, things of that nature, food, eating right, YouTube. So I really wanted to buy it mainly because I've been watching her for a little bit. I wanted the recipes and I really wanted some advice about YouTube. And I have to say, overall, there were absolutely no surprises in this book, no big reveals, no revelations. So I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted some more insight, but there was nothing revealed that I haven't already heard, especially about doing YouTube, okay? So a little disappointed on that. It is definitely written for a younger crowd. I would say people in their early teens to maybe late teens, possibly early 20s. It is definitely was a much younger written book, or however you want to say that. Now I know she said that she had somebody helping her out a lot. She just did not have the time to sit down and physically write the book herself. Sorry about the clock going off. There's nothing I can do about it. So what I think possibly happened, I have no real knowledge of this. The way it was written, it does sound like it's in her words, so I suspect she sat down with a writer and they actually probably recorded Tanya talking, and then the writer, whoever, went back and just typed it up, and then it was edited. But I will tell you, I saw several kind of grammatical errors and mistakes through that. And again, I'm not sure if it's just me being American, the way I saw it, as opposed to the way it's written. But I did find one error, kind of a big thing, in the hair section, and I just thought that was odd. I thought the editors would have done a better job. So I would say it seemed kind of, I want to give you my opinion about it. It seemed a bit rushed, and the editing wasn't as on point. And I would say, though, it seems to me, if I didn't know that she said she didn't physically sit down and write it, I would have assumed she probably would have written it. It seems like definitely a first book for someone that's not a professional writer. That was my take on it as far as that. And then, just a few grammatical errors here and there. I am not a grammar expert, but if I noticed it, that's what it was out, that's kind of like, if I noticed it, it's kind of pretty much in your face type thing. And then just some other, it sounded like a sometimes you'll misspeak. I do it all the time. And I think that's what happened with hers, but they didn't clean it up. And it didn't go back and say, oh, that's not what I meant to say, because it just didn't make any sense, some of it. But anyway, I will show you that she has, she talks about growing up at the beginning of it, and then she talks about every section of the book. She does her top 10 of whatever it may be, talking about that section, and this is nostalgic childhood memories, and so she talks about her top 10 of those, and then she gives you a place to write. There's a note section about what your top 10 would be, so every single section of the book has her top 10 and then gives you a place to write your top 10 down. So I thought that was a cool concept. I really liked it, but I never like to write in a book like this. I would rather do it in a journal, just because I think I don't want to deface the book in any way. So I, personally would never have used it to write, and that's just me personally, but I really appreciate the fact that she did this. And I think if the book had been more in a softback or more of a journal looking type book, I think that would have went over better, at least with me, if I was going to write something down. But this type of book, this is literally a hardback heavy book, I would not want to write in it. That's just what I think about it. And then the pages are very, very thick. Sometime I was thinking, am I turning 2 pages at once? But they're very thick and they're slick feeling. So I would think also that if you were writing in pen, it would probably smear real easily, and I'm a lefty, so I smear things real easily, because when I write, my hand drags behind it. So that's another reason why I didn't want to write in it, because I think this would, since it's so slick, I don't think a pen would be very good. Perhaps a Sharpie would work better. But overall, I really enjoyed reading it. I definitely want to do some of her recipes. So, but anyway, I definitely would recommend it. There's some in it that obviously is not applicable to me, whatever the word is, and it's not going to fit everybody. And I would say though I enjoyed it. I was really impressed overall with it for a first book of somebody who's not a writer. And the photographs are just absolutely beautiful. So I would recommend it, but you know, I wasn't surprised, or there was no revelations about anything in the book that I didn't already know or haven't already heard before. So overall, it was a good book, a really fast-paced read, but keep in mind, if you're thinking about buying it, it is for a younger crowd. There's not going to be any surprises in the book whatsoever, and she does give a lot of advice, like say for eating healthy and just trying to be healthy. She talks about you need to drink water, you need to exercise, eat right. We all know that already. There's no big revelations whatsoever, but I did enjoy reading the book, and so I definitely give the book a thumbs up. But overall, though, I just wanted to say it felt a little bit rushed, and I don't think it was edited properly. Just my opinion about it. I don't mean to say anything negative because I really did like the book. But anyway, that is my review of the book. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and stay tuned for more videos. Bye, everybody.